didn't collapse, they didn't embarrass themselves, and they definitely didn't start as jokes. You remember the first time you heard them? On vinyl, in a car, late at night. They sounded serious, dangerous. Tonight, we're breaking down how that reputation quietly changed by looking at what actually happened and when. Number 7. At some point, this band stopped being a choice and started being everywhere. Foreigner. Foreigner formed in New York City in 1976, built deliberately by guitarist Mick Jones. Lou Gramm was out front, and the original lineup was literal in its design. 3 British members and 3 Americans. Wherever they played, someone in the band was a foreigner. The self-titled debut landed in 1977 on Atlantic. It was sharp, controlled, and loud enough for FM radio. Feels like the first time. Cold as ice. Long, long way from home. These weren't novelty hits, they were engineered to connect, and they did. Double Vision followed in 1978, bigger hooks, heavier rotation. The same precision. That's where the shift began, not collapse, saturation. The songs drifted out of albums and into daily life. Cars, kitchens, office radios. Over time, Foreigner stopped sounding like a band you chose and started sounding like the room you were standing in. Number 6. One perfect debut and a reputation that never moved past it. Boston. Boston arrived fully formed in 1976 with their self-titled debut on Epic Records. The album was built largely from Tom Scholz's meticulously layered demos, recorded and developed over years, then refined with co-producer John Boylan. When it finally hit FM radio, it sounded unlike anything else on the dial. The record peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and went on to become one of the best-selling debut albums in rock history. More Than a Feeling climbed into the top 5, and suddenly it felt like Boston had solved arena rock. Massive guitars, pristine harmonies, and Brad Delp's voice cutting straight through the mix. And that was the trap. The debut was so complete that everything after it lived in its shadow. Boston didn't become a punchline. The formula just became a ceiling. They became fixed, remembered for one flawless arrival, and rarely asked to move beyond it. Number 5. They weren't cartoonish, but somewhere between prog oddball and pop hitmaker. Their image quietly lost focus. Supertramp.
But then they sent me away, teach me how to be sensitive.
Supertramp formed in London around 1969-70, emerging from an earlier version of the band called Daddy and built around the contrasting partnership of Rick Davies and Roger Hodgson. From the beginning, they resisted easy labels. Cerebral without being cold, melodic without being simple. Crime of the Century in 1974 was the breakthrough. Dark, carefully arranged, and emotionally precise. It leaned on Wurlitzer electric piano, John Hellowell's reed textures, and Hodgson's high, fragile voice. As the decade wore on, later hits became the main reference point. The sharper edges softened in memory. Supertramp didn't implode or humiliate themselves. They drifted. A band once defined by contrast slowly became defined by mood.
My behavior, that'll never bother me. Say the devil is my savior.
Number 4. At some point, the music stopped being the headline, and the image took over. Electric Light Orchestra. Electric Light Orchestra formed in Birmingham in 1970, built around the Roy Wood and Jeff Lynne version of making pop songs with classical muscle, not as decoration, but as part of the engine. It was rock songwriting with strings woven in alongside guitars. Early on, it was not a gimmick. The cellos carried real weight. The scale shift hit with Out of the Blue in 1977.
Shining in the sky, there ain't a cloud in sight.
Recorded largely at Musicland Studios in Munich, the double album was expansive, meticulously assembled, and impossible to avoid. It pushed ELO fully into the pop bloodstream. With that scale came something else: the spaceship branding, the flying saucer stage on the tours that followed. The visuals began to lead the memory. Over time, ambition blurred behind spectacle. ELO did not lose seriousness. It just stopped being the first thing people talked about.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide with us.
Number 3. You don't remember the band that started as musicians because one hook swallowed the story. Journey. Journey formed in 1973 around Neil Schon and Greg Rowley, coming out of a Bay Area scene that valued precision and stretch. Early Journey was technical and restless, a band that played through songs, not straight at them. The pivot came with Infinity in 1978. Their first album with Steve Perry. Produced by Roy Thomas Baker, it tightened everything. Shorter songs, sharper hooks, Perry's voice cutting clean through the mix. That discipline made them enormous, and it narrowed the picture. By the time Don't Stop Believin' arrived on Escape in 1981, the band's public memory had shrunk around a single moment. One song you could never quite escape. Number 2. This band didn't mean to become ridiculous. They just kept turning the dial. Styx. Styx emerged from Chicago with chops and ambition to spare. By the late 70s, The Grand Illusion in 1977 showed how well they could balance hard rock muscle.
Welcome to the Grand Illusion.
Progressive structure, and big melodic hooks. It worked. The records sold. The arenas filled. Then the balance tipped. Concepts grew heavier. Storylines took more space. And as the 70s turned into the 80s, presentation began to crowd the songs themselves. The band wasn't aiming for parody. They were reaching for something larger. That reach became the problem. What once felt bold started to feel overwrought. Rock audiences are unforgiving when sincerity tips into excess. Styx didn't lose skill or success. They lost restraint. Number 1. This band didn't lose credibility. It got replaced by one song. Kansas. Kansas came out of Topeka in the early 70s as a disciplined progressive rock band, driven by odd meters, long forms, and a violin cutting through hard rock force. Left Overture in 1976,
Carry on my wayward son.
And Point of No Return in 1977 were dense records. Ambitious, demanding, and anything but gentle. Then came Dust in the Wind.
Dust in the wind.
It first appeared on Point of No Return in 1977.
Once I rose above the noise and confusion.
But as a single, it broke wide in 1978. Quiet, acoustic, emotionally exposed. An exception, not a mission statement. Radio held on to it. So did time. What disappeared wasn't respect. It was everything around that song. A band built on tension, volume, and risk got frozen in a single quiet moment. Not because they failed, because the world decided it was enough. And if you think this only happened to bands who leaned into softness or excess, stay with me, because the bonus isn't about a band that didn't know better. It's about a band that did.
All we are is dust in the wind.
Bonus: Aerosmith. Early Aerosmith was grimy, volatile, and peer-respected. Boston clubs and rehearsal rooms. Stones-level intent. Records like Toys in the Attic in 1975 that sounded like they might come apart at any second. They were taken seriously because they were dangerous. The shift didn't come from bad music, it came from survival. By the late 80s and into the 90s, Aerosmith was everywhere. Videos, ballads, collaborations, branding that stretched far beyond the band's original center. That's where the argument lives. Ask 10 fans which Aerosmith is real, and you'll get 10 answers. Not because the band collapsed, but because the story split. This is what it looks like when a band knows the danger, outlives it, and still can't control how history files them away.
I still miss you, babe, and I don't want to miss a thing.
History didn't agree on these bands, and neither will you. Which one did we get wrong? Tell me in the comments.